Hey, my name's Natalia, and today I'm going to be focusing on the framework called React. React is a JavaScript library that acts as a framework. React is used for building user interface components. Components such as a button that when clicked happens to change something on the overall website. React basically focuses on building a bunch of independent UI components and later combining them to create an overall pretty good complex web page. A good example is Twitter. So maybe we start off by building the search bar, and then once we're done that, we could build the feed, we could build the profile, and then once we put all that together, we get a complex web page called Twitter. So React is currently a very popular framework due to its involvement of JSX. This allows users to interact with the document object model, the DOM, which is the HTML of your website and is seen by the browser. Having JSX allows us to incorporate JavaScript right into our HTML code. And a lot of people like this a lot if they're comfortable with using JavaScript instead of learning a new language. Another good thing about React is that it caches the overall look of the website. Later, it computes any differences and it only changes what needs to be changed. So if there's an area that's the exact same, it won't bother to focus or change like anything inside there. So this allows React to work pretty fast. Anyways, that's a quick sum up of what React is. So let's get started with the coding. Okay, so here we're going to start off with our first React example code, so name display code. What we're aiming to do is to get a certain message with our name, or whichever chosen name we choose, to be displayed right here on this web page. So to start off, we have our basic HTML format. We have our HTML tags, our head tag, and our body tag. So we're gonna first implement our JavaScript tags, our script tags, not capitalized, script. And basically for React, because we're using JSX language, JavaScript XML language, we need a compiler. So a compiler, like a JavaScript compiler that translates a program language into JavaScript for us, basically, because we need that for React in order for it to work. So for today's lesson, we're gonna use text Babel. Babel is the JavaScript compiler that we're going to be using today. Close that and let's have that. So here's our script tags. Okay, and basically for Babel and JavaScript to work, we need these links up here. They're provided down in the description below along with the code. So now that we have this, what we first need to aim for and understand is that we want to be able to place our message right here on this web page. So let's create a div to be able to create that little area for where we need to go. So it's div, closing back, and let's give it an ID. Let's say it's my name placement, so my name P. So if you want to see how that looks, we could just say hello. We'll save that, we'll refresh the page. And right here at the top of this little web page corner is where our message is going to be placed. So let's take that out. Let's go into the JavaScript now. So we need a variable that will hold the name that we are choosing. So for me, I'm going to use my name. So let's do constant. We'll name the variable name, and then we'll input it. You could input your name or anyone's name. I'm putting my name. So Natalia Ocampo, and we'll do semicolon because it's JavaScript language. So I just wanted to mention for React, in order for there to be React and for the language to actually work within JavaScript, we need something called a React DOM, document object model dot render, and then we'll have the brackets. So we first need this little line right here. And as the name states, it basically renders the DOM with the React language. So this is very necessary. Anything in here is React language. This is where the React comes in place inside our HTML language. So now within here, we're gonna write our message. So let's do H1. Let's say, hey there. For React to call a variable and to be able to output its name, we use squiggly brackets, and then we'll put the variable name inside. Let's end it with the exclamation mark. So basically, this little message right here is what we want to be outputted. What we want outputted for the browser to output and for the user to see on this web page right here in this box where hello is, where our div is. But in order to get this message into our div, we need to use a document.getElement by ID. So we'll do comma and we'll do document. This is the JavaScript language that many people know. So get element by ID, and we're gonna put our element by ID name, which is my name P, my name placement. And then we're gonna end that off here for our React DOM. So, and basically that's about it for it to work. We'll refresh the page and she should pop up. Yep, here. Hey there, Natalia Ocampo. So we got this message and we placed that overall message into this ID called my name placement, which is a div that we had within the body. Okay, so here we have our second React code example, which is a clock code. And basically our purpose for this code is to display the current time right here on this web page. So as you can see, we're using the same HTML format that we used before. We have our HTML tag, we have our head, body, our script. We're still using Babel, our JavaScript compiler, and we also have our links attached to the code to allow for React and Babel to function. So I'm going to be introducing React functions within this tutorial as well, so let's get started. So to start off, we need to know where we want to display our time on this web page. So let's just create a div and have it placed right there. So go into the body, create a div tag, and let's give it the ID for clock placement, because that's where we want our clock to be placed. So for example, if I do hello, this is going to show where it's going to be displayed right here. Let's take that out. Okay. Now let's get into the programming, the JavaScript. So I want to create a function that will be able to get me the current time. So let's do function and let's name it current time. Then we have our bracket and we have our squiggly brackets. So to attain that current time, I'm going to code within these two squiggly brackets. So first off, I want to be able to create a variable that will hold the current time. So let's call it, we have a const. Let's name it getTime. And basically what I'm going to use is a method. And basically this method helps convert the current time into a string format, allowing us to use it within our function. So what we're going to be using is new date. Then we have bracket dot to local time string. So we're using this method. And then what we're going to do is we have bracket, bracket, and we're going to end it there. So now our getTime holds the value of the time that we have, the current time, which has been converted into a string for us. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the React DOM render. So like I mentioned before, the React DOM render basically displays our data on the screen using the React language. So React DOM, direct object method, dot render. And basically, just to sum it up of what this is that of how this functions is within those brackets, we're gonna have our, let's say, data, and then we're gonna have where we want the data to be placed. Or we could say where to send the data to be placed. So this is basically how this little line right here works. So our data, what is our data? It's time. So let's get time. So we're going to get the time. So we're doing HI tags, and within there to call a variable within React, we need the squiggly lines, and inside we're going to say get time. That's our variable. Then we're going to do comma. We're going to do, we want to basically send this data into this placement, into this div element on this, so it could appear on this page for the user. So we're going to do document.get element by ID, and the ID is clock P. So let's copy that and place it right in here, clock P. So right here, the React DOM render is going to display our get time, so the current time, at our clock P placement, this div up here. Okay, and so that's the end of this function. So now that we have our current time, we attained it, we placed it here right on this web page where we wanted it. The only problem is that we want our clock to be updated every second, so it gives us the exact current time. So to do that, we're going to need to set an interval. So we're going to do set interval. So we basically want to refresh this function every second. So our method here, which converted our time into a string for us, is updated every second. So we're going to get our function, the current time, and we're going to update it for every second. So this is milliseconds, so every 1,000 milliseconds. And then there, we're going to save her. Let's clean it up, and then let's refresh the page. And here, as you can see, our time is displayed right here at the top of the corner of what we wanted. So that's the end of my React tutorial. Just to recap on everything, React is a very popular JavaScript library that acts as a framework. It focuses on building interface components and combining them all in order to create a great complex web page. I hope this helped you have a basic but better understanding of how to use React and the advantages within using React. Thanks for watching.